Find someone that you really connect with and enjoy working with. It should not be a tortured experience. You shouldn't be made to feel less than. This should be someone that you can really connect with.
You need to connect personally,
Right.
but it's also, how many times are you calling me?
Right.
How many times are we meeting either in person, via Zoom, on the phone, whatever your preference is? How many times are they doing that with other people? When you're dating, everything could be rosy, but then once you get married, are things going to change? So it's the same with any negotiation that you do.
You might see some advisors that you talk to where there's not a fee. I do this for free. That's not true. But nothing is free. How long have you worked with your clients? Because that's going to tell you a lot about what you need to know about that person.
Hi, and welcome to Express Yourself Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Martinez.
And I'm Lauren Genuardi, and we're coming today to you with a great question. I think I'm ready for an advisor. How can I find one I trust? This is a good one.
This is difficult.
Right.
And I think there are many good ones.
Right.
So there isn't just one famous one that you find and that'll work, because it's personalities. I think I actually tie this a little bit to therapy, right? There's wonderful therapists out there,
Right.
but I need to connect with that person. So even though the deliverable is very similar,
Correct. From firm to firm.
correct, that doesn't mean that our connection will be the same. And as much as we want to say that in finance, it should be, hard numbers and hard facts and things like that, there is so much more involved. Specifically in people more our age, that I feel we're at this sandwich era of life of our children, our parents, our spouse. It's literally a big sandwich. And I think we need someone, not necessarily that is living through it also, but that understands it and has empathy.
Right.
So personally, I want someone empathetic,
Right.
to be by my side as I'm going through this.
Right. Yeah. You're going to be working closely with your advisor. So I always encourage prospective clients that I'm speaking to, or just even friends who are asking, I really say, find someone that you gel with, because this person is going to be a trusted advisor throughout your life, not just from the finances side, but it's going to be a person that you're going to be asking all sorts of random questions. My job is changing. What offer should I take? All of these things that get presented to us. So find someone that you really connect with and enjoy working with. It should not be a tortured experience. You shouldn't be made to feel less than. This should be someone that you can really connect with and get along, and you want to continue to be with that person and spend time, because we do work closely with our clients, right? We're not having meetings because we're bored. We're having meetings because we need to check in on important issues in your life. So this is someone you should hopefully, if they're a great advisor, be interacting with frequently.
I think that is one of the key pieces. So what we've done, and there's plenty of questions that you can ask if you're doing interviews to advisors. That's one of the pieces that we recommend. So if you're looking for someone you can trust, definitely interview a few people. And where do you come up with these people? Of course, you can Google them and look at different websites to find them. And there's also just friends and family, right? You can ask, who do you use? And let's talk about it a little, right? What are they like? How often do they talk to you? Because those things are important to me. So because they are, first step, ask someone to start the interview process. But then when you're in the interview process, we have 6 questions that we think are important to get these answers to. So one is, what kind of clients do you work with?
Right.
Are you specific to doctors? And I'm not a doctor.
Right. And there are some advisors that really do specialize their practices. They only work with attorneys, or they only work with retirees, or they only work with millennials. So ask that question. who is a typical client? What is your ideal client? And make sure that you fit that demographic.
So that's number one. How often do we connect? You mentioned that just now a few times, that you need to connect personally,
Right.
but it's also how many times are you calling me? How many times are we meeting either in person, via Zoom, on the phone, whatever your preference is? How many times are they doing that with other people?
Right.
Because like courting goes, even when you're dating, everything can be rosy, but then once you get married, are things going to change? So it's the same with any negotiation that you do. What are they doing with other people? How often are they connecting with other people? Because that's going to tell you how often they're going to connect with you.
Correct. And that's a big complaint that we hear when new prospects come in the door to us is, hey, how often can I expect to talk to you? Because my last advisor, I haven't heard from him or her in 3 years. That's, yes, exactly what you want to stay away from.
And I think for some of you, you might say, well, I don't really want to talk that often.
Right.
We get that.
That's okay too.
Yes. But there might be reasons why you don't like talking about it so much. So we also want to overcome those obstacles. So as much as you can like less contact, which is fine, less, but 0 to go a whole year without talking to someone also isn't healthy for your financial situation. So it's good to have some connection with your advisor because, as you stated, every decision we make ties to money some way, somehow.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we have someone who's supporting us in that decision based on their experience and the experience that they get from all the clients that they talk to every single day.
Right.
So let's make sure we leverage that. So it's question number 2, how often do they connect? Question number 3 is tied to question number 2.
Right. How can you help me stay on track to meet my goals? Right. That goes back to talking to us. If your goals have changed and you're not talking to us or an advisor is not reaching out and talking to you, you're almost working against each other, that you're not working in unison. So it's really, we want to hear from you, not because we want to bother you, not because we want to take your time, but we want to make sure that we're staying on track, that the goals that we discussed 6 months ago are the same goals, that we keep you on track, that we talk about your savings rate, that we talk about that new job that you have, make sure that you start your 401k. This is why we like that. It all comes back to communication, really.
Yes. I think there's the push, the pull, and the walk alongside.
Right.
You can want us to push you, and you'll let us know because we set that expectation. Do you need us to say, hey, do you want me to call you once a quarter and say, hey, did you get that done? Did you finish that? Do you need me to be the liaison between the CPA and the attorney? Do you need that? I can push you along the way or pull you along the way. You don't like to be pushed. You like it more. Just touch base with me and send me an email and I'll know, and that'll be a reminder for me.
Right.
Or you're like, no pushing, no pulling. But I would like you to walk alongside.
Right.
That's the piece where, okay, I got this promotion offer.
Right.
I'd like you to look at it with me. Right? Not pushing, not pulling. What we're doing is being there with you to say, oh, I've read a contract like this before. I think these pieces are great. Maybe negotiate and ask for this, or it's perfect as is. You can sign, right? So there's multiple options, but keeping you track, helping you stay on track with your goals requires communication, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the next question number 4, how will you ensure that my values are aligned with my investments and that they're the right investments for me?
So that ties so importantly to what you want. What are those goals and what things are so important to you that you would say, I want to make sure I never own a stock that promotes XYZ, whatever that is that's important to you. And it also ties to your values of, let's say it's generosity are one of your values. So how am I aligning my investments to be overly generous in these areas? Whatever it is that you pick, can your advisor provide that for you? Do they have options that can align specifically with what you enjoy, with what you love?
Right. And if they don't, then that they point you in the right direction and say, that's not exactly what we do, but we have a good solution for you too.
Yes. And question number 5 is, this is a big one.
Yep.
How do you get paid?
Right. Right. This is a really important question to drill down at because different financial practices are set up differently. And not saying one is better than the other, but you might see some advisors that you talk to where there's not a fee. I do this for free. That's not true. But nothing is free. So when you hear that it's free, typically that means that you're going to be put into investments, typically mutual funds, where the advisor is going to be getting some case 5+% load right up front, meaning that that's 5% immediately that comes into their pocket. That might be a commissioned-based advisor, meaning that they could potentially be incentivized to trade your account more often because that's how they earn income. There are also flat fee advisors where it's a certain dollar amount and you're either paying just for plan. So, hey, I just want a plan. It's X number of dollars. We interact and do the plan and that's it. Or it's, hey, you're going to pay a fee of X per year and you can talk to me so many times per year. And that's really how we operate. And then there's also an assets under management model, which is typically there will be a percentage that you would be paying, and it typically goes down and becomes lower as you have more and more investable assets. But that is a really nice model, and we're biased because that is our model. But it's nice because we're aligned with you. So if the market is going up, yes, that means that our compensation goes up. But if the market goes down, our compensation also goes down. We are aligned with our clients in that respect. So those are the 4 main types of different advisors that you find out there.
And it could be whatever fits you best today, right? So this whole question asking is about what you feel fits you. So ask all these questions and make sure that, is that what I want and what I need today, right? We have one more question that we think is very important to ask. And this is more on sustainability, right? So how long have you been working with your clients? What is that track record that you hold?
Right. I think this is a great question to ask. And I would be cautious of any advisor that leads with performance and only performance. No one should be promising you a return. They should not be promising to make you X number of dollars because there's no guarantees in life, right? And no guarantees in the market. So if you're hearing something like that, I would be very cautious. What I would instead ask them, I don't necessarily want to hear your performance track record. How long have you worked with your clients? Because that's going to tell you a lot about what you need to know about that person. Can they sustain good relationships? Can they build them? Do they work with families and different generations of the family? That tells you that that really is a trusted advisor who has not only good investment skills and investment prowess, but actually can connect with the families that they serve and kind of grow alongside them.
Yeah. So this was a great question, specifically tying it to, I think I'm ready. So as you're running through these questions and talking to different advisors, this is where you'll know if you're starting to feel in the right spot.
Right.